Hey everybody, coming at you, it's Be Hero with another episode of Game Talks. Continuing our foray into the Sonic series is Sonic Adventure. Sonic's first true entry into the 3D era. You know it, you love it. Without further ado, let's get into it. Sonic Adventure is one of the first Sonic games started getting on my own. Like the very first one I actually got with it just said Sonic Heroes, and then after that I started getting into like Adventure 2, even Shadow the Hedgehog got for the GameCube, which we didn't have at the time, but we got it specifically so we could play these games. So my cousins actually had nothing to do with this one. Like I even remember it that day. It's like my dad, my brother, and me were going to like Walmart, right? And he said you can do one of two things. We could go to the movies, hang out, and have a nice day of it, or you could like get your GameCube and the new Sonic game into one night. And we, my brother, were both like GameCube in one night. It's like, okay, cool, let's do that. And I'm like, yeah. So we got it. We got like Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and just laying into them. It was great. And I just like fell in love with it. It was just so good. It was just like so awesome. Especially like the multiple different characters that you could pick from. I liked all of them. Yes, even Big. He wasn't my favorite, but I liked all of them. The different story perspectives you got from different parts of the story. You got it from that character's point of view instead of like this an overarching cutscene that just like, hey, this is what happened. You know, live with it. No, you actually saw it from like Sonic's perspective and Tails' perspective. For example, when you rescue Tails after you go through Emerald Coast, you get one scene where like Sonic and Tails were interacting right outside the gate in the pool area. You see one side of it from Sonic's perspective, and the other side of it from Tails' perspective. And Tails is like, you're not listening to me, no, because Tails actually had more to say. But what we was talking about, I don't remember everything off the top of my head. All Sonic really got with it. It's a cast has some limited power, you know. He just kind of tuned him out. But I think it's a pretty good character thing because unlike Tails, Sonic isn't technical. He doesn't have the mind for all that jargon and long-windedness, so he's not going to have the attention span to sit there and listen to him. He's like, yeah, I get it. Like, that's epic, so let's get going here. And Tails is just like, okay, awesome. And then you get like the scene with Knuckles and Sonic and the casino so the casino place, right? And he's like, we see what happened with Sonic until we see Knuckles, and he's just like, what are this guy's doing here? This is the thing. It was really cool. I really liked how they did that. They got to see different perspectives of the characters, and it just added to my delight. I didn't know every these like terminologies when I was younger and playing them. I just knew I liked what I was seeing on screen. I liked how it felt. I liked how it operated. I liked what it did. Speaking of what it did, gameplay. I like it. It was awesome. It was smooth. It was great. I enjoyed it. I got to play Sonic and Tails on a stage. So me and my brother do this. It's like 1.5 players instead of just like actually 2 players or just 1 player, like they did in Sonic 2, where you control Sonic, but you can also control Tails at the same time. And me and my brother did that. It was fun. It was very fun. So we kind of got to play together, sort of, if that was going on. That's one because we wanted to play the game, but only one player. We could only play one person at a time, so one person was stuck watching, waiting for their turn. It's like, it's usually the one waiting, since he's usually the one playing on this. Like, well, this isn't really fair. So, yeah. But hey, I got my turn. I played it. It was fun. It was great. And with the whole Sonic entry into 3D, since I played the 2D Sonic games like afterwards. I was used to 3D Sonic, and 2D wasn't jarring. Since my brother got Sonic Advance 3 and I played that, so gameplay is effectively the same. Like cute little tricks and tips aside, but it was effectively the same. So I really had no problems just picking up and just kind of going for it. Yeah, sure, if you play 2D first going to 3D, you have the a whole different dimension to work with now, but I never had that issue. Speaking of issues, which I don't really have that many of, the story. So it was pretty straightforward. Again, Dr. Eggman Ivo Robotnik, whatever his name is trying to conquer the world. Standard fare, using the power of the Chaos Emeralds. Again, pretty standard. Let's go around, instead of using one of his mean bean machines, oh yeah, I've played that too. he's trying to use this water entity, Chaos, which we see in the beginning of Knuckles' story, that it broke out of the Master Emerald. That's what caused Angel Island to fall. And I'm like, oh, cool. Again, different story perspective. We get to see it all come together and whatnot, depending on who we play as. And as you go through the story, we unlock more and more characters. It's pretty fun. And I like when they do stuff like that. But at any rate, he's trying to use Chaos to conquer the world and whatnot, because he read some ancient tablet stone thing on Angel Island, Mystic Ruins, that, oh hey, if you give all these things to this thing, which is in the giant green rock, you will get the power to just take over the world and crap like that. Let's go, sick, sweet, awesome, so let's do that. So he unleashes Chaos, and he starts feeding him Chaos Emeralds, not really aware of what's going to happen, or why it was sealed in there to begin with. Which all that is explained as the story goes on. Speaking of the actual story, like each character, say for like Sonic and Tails, which motives are like the same, each one has their own little motivation going on there that ties into this whole greater narrative. Like, Amy's looking for Sonic, right? Because that's her thing. She has a crush on him. She wants to be with him. Cool. Knuckles is trying to collect all of the Master Emerald charge to rebuild the Master Emerald. Sonic and Tails are trying to stop Eggman. Big is trying to get his friend Froggy back, which actually has like swallowed a part of Chaos's tail, which is why Froggy, despite being a full-blown frog, has a tail and he's not. Actually, one of my favorite characters, Gamma, is following like Eggman's orders and whatnot, trying to, get all the like animals so we could put them in people, and trying to find Froggy so we could get Chaos's tail back, hunting down the other E-series robots that were built, because he wants to free his brother and like deleting Eggman's master registration, going rogue and whatnot, and his whole like thing. And just at the end there, when he like self-destructs to free the Flicky inside of him, I'm just like, yo, dude, I came here to play a Sonic game, then not to feel some feelings here. Come on, bro. Also, I was kind of expecting special stages. I didn't expect us just to get the Chaos Emeralds just through like gameplay. I bring that up at this point because like one of the Flickies that was related to the Flicky inside of Gamma was with Amy, and it had a Chaos Emerald around its neck, like in some kind of like wooden energy seal thing. I'm like, oh, okay. Shrug. If I remember correctly, I could be mixing that up with freaking Sonic X, but hey, I might talk about that at a later point too. Yeah, because in Sonic Heroes, I expected special stages. I didn't really like see what was gonna happen. I kind of knew what was gonna happen because internet was beginning to blossom. Then it was still, still a bit of a babby move beginning. So I knew what was gonna happen in this, but I didn't know everything. But I thought there were special stages, and there wasn't going to be. And I wasn't disappointed, but I kind of still wanted them. Still kind of want them in that game. But hey, whatever. Yeah, some people may view it as an unnecessary step, but I'm like, it's classic. Speaking of classic, you can get like so many of the classic Sonic games on that, and I wasn't even aware when I first started playing it until I effed around in the menus, and I was like, what are all these other games here? Holy crap! And I was like, oh, alright, cool. This is like so much in one. And I was just like, I like this game all the more. This is great. I was just like falling in love with this in so many different ways. Think about what the Game Gear and Genesis games, if I'm not mistaken, were on there, which I didn't know at the time. I don't quite remember right now, but I was just like, cool. And I spent hours playing all of those ones. I don't even remember which one I started playing, but I started playing them and it was fun. Speaking of fun, it's like the adventure style of game that's probably my favorite kind. Sure, I don't have the boost to win like we have like nowadays. But the adventure style is definitely my favorite. We have the open hub world, we get to play with multiple people. When it's done correctly, like I know that they can do, it just hits different, and I like the way it hits. Especially when you have like the characters that have the different like items and abilities, like the whole like dancing thing or spin dash, like twirling top thing that Tails. But yes, thank you. The top thing that he spins in that Tails can get, or Sonic can get like the crystal ring, light speed attack, and whatnot. Knuckles the full heat knuckle attack, the embracing all those other like things that augment the gameplay. And this make it, just better, easier, faster. As soon as I got the Tails one, I just kind of sort of just stayed like that since I was like nigh on kill top of death. I just kind of went through the entire stage, and I moved faster too, so I had no problem with it. The full hit knuckle attack was cool. It was like Knuckles' version of the light speed attack, and I'm just like, I dig it, but I can understand see why it never really came back. Although I would like for it to come back, because I think it's a good part with moveset that says how fast and strong he is. But it's like, this is it's a little redundant. I say it's a look at Shadow, whose entire existence is to be his, dark and edgy opposite, and I'm just like, speaking of redundant, they must have liked the character. But he's not in this one. The game all around was just so much fun. And the platforming was good. It was good, solid. It was tight. I liked it anyway. Maybe a bit slippery in comparison to Adventure 2, platforming, which is apparently the epitome of Sonic platforming. But Adventure was still pretty good. You could still do your like just skipping tricks and do a whole bunch of other things and whatnot. But it didn't like break the game in the attempt to do it like some other more modern Sonic games would. Unfortunately, QQ. That's the world we live in. I wish it wasn't so. I like the series, but hey, it can't change the past, and it can't change how they do things. I keep saying the game was so much fun, how much I like it. It's because Sonic was this huge part of my childhood. I still even play the games today. Everything about that I was feeling would just hit, different. Like I've played Mario games before, but this wasn't the same. Well, that they weren't fun. I have Sunshine, 1,000 Year Door, I played Galaxy and whatnot. But Mario ones, they weren't fun. But this hit different for me, and I liked the way it hit more than for Mario. Anyway. I don't feel the need to really get into too many details of how people operate. They're similar enough where I don't really feel the express need to, but Sonic runs the fastest, Knuckles can glide, he's like, you can dig, physically the strongest and whatnot. But slower, Tails faster than Knuckles, slower than Sonic, he can fly into the whole top thing. Amy is decently fast, but she uses her hammer to really attack, and hers is actually pretty interesting, her gameplay. Because I said Knuckles looks for the master armor, but Amy tries to like run away from the Zero, I think it's called, the robot. That's trying to capture her and her Flicky to bring them back to Eggman. And she can't actually destroy the robot, but when she hits it with her hammer, it stuns it, and she has to like run away from it. I'm like, oh, okay, that's cool. But seeing like Amy from later games and that what she can do, I'm like, why couldn't she just destroy this robot? I don't get it, but hey, whatever. It's a game, they can do whatever they want. Big is probably the only really big noticeable difference, because this doesn't focus on platforming, it focuses on fishing, which is probably why a lot of people don't much care for it. Because if I wanted to play a fishing game, I just play a fishing game. You can find a pool of water in any of these stages, like the Arctic one, Casino, Eggman's base, I think Emerald Coast, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong. And then there's like a buff fight with Chaos, where again you fish out Froggy with literally it, and then you win the stage immediately. No ifs, ands, or buts. And Gamma's play styles. If you've played Adventure 2, you see Eggman or Tails, it's effectively just that. You can hover, she fires. There's no real difference. But it was like the precursor, and I do enjoy that. You got to see like how it was Adventure 1 to Adventure 2, and I thought, okay, that's fine, that slaps. Now there was the Chow Garden, which I spent a long time in. I love the Chow Garden and Adventure 2. Well, we'll get to that when we get to that, but so many hours just lost. Lost in that. Raising the Chow, getting the animals, getting up their stats. And it was just, again, so much fun. I go into the market, buying the fruit, lining them up, all of it, the whole time. I love it. I wish, again, like many people, I wish they would bring it back in other Sonic games. It was so much fun. It was great. I don't know why they don't. They brought for Sonic Chronicles, the Dark Brotherhood, but they're more like equip items. They want the true, like, Tamagotchi raising experience, where I could race them and fight with them, we'll fight them against each other, and just be awesome like that. It wasn't that, and that was the problem. They gave us a Chow Garden. It was like a backhanded compliment. They gave it to us. Then they slapped us across the face, but giving us this. This isn't what we want. We want the actual Chow Garden back. Why? And in Sonic Advance, they even had a Chow Garden, which, fun fact, if you were to transfer one Chow from Sonic, it's a Sonic Adventure, right? See, with the GameCube, with the link cable, with Sonic Advance and Sonic Adventure 2. You transfer it to Sonic Advance and use it as a go-between to Sonic Adventure 1 and 2, and just transport your child that way. That's what me and my brother did, and it was fun. We got to have a certain Chow that we actually like pretend it was like a lineage or a dynasty or something like that, or like, oh, hey, this is from like a different time or a different thing. It was just we were kids, and we knew a whole bunch of stuff, and it was just awesome. I also like how it's peppered out throughout the adventure, the overworld, the adventure stages. They actually peppered out like Chow eggs, and not throughout the area where you had to like find, move them and whatnot. You did that, bring them to the Chow Garden. You could just keep the Chow that would hatch, and bang, bang, boom, you have a new Chow and whatnot. So it was great. So they incorporated that into the gameplay. Like, ooh, what's this? I don't know. Is it a rock? I don't think it's a rock. Took it to this new like Chow Garden place, and like, oh, what's this? Oh, this is really cool. I think there was like, what, 3 Chow Gardens? One for Mystic Ruins, Angel Island, one for like Station Square, and the last one was Eggman's Chow Garden on the Egg Carrier. And that one was the biggest one, and that was also my favorite because it was the biggest one, kind of deal. It was like, that's where they go for like vacations and like, because it's all sand and surf and sea, and it was just fun. They did so much right with that game. Speaking of something with the game, again, the like actual overarching like story was actually pretty good. I think decent character moments, especially with Tails. It was the whole like sidekick becoming its own hero thing. And then like Tails like, I can't rely on Sonic forever. I'm like, this is great, and I wanted to stick with that. But it seems like they doubled back on that, which that's what really upset me and a lot of people. They had this whole character growth moment where he's like, I can't rely on Sonic forever. He has to grow up and be his own person. He can still be his friend and his partner, but his equal, not just his toting sidekick. And that's what I thought they were going, but yeah, no, they weren't going there at all. Especially like in Tails' final boss fight, where it was like, get out of here, I'll make mincemeat out of you, Eggman was saying, and Tails like stood his ground in this giant egg walker, and he saved the city and whatnot. I'm like, yeah, the boy got one, and it was so great. I know what you're thinking, Tails' Adventure, but let's put that to the side for now, and just look at this awesomeness that is Tails fighting the Egg Walker in Sonic Adventure and him winning. Speaking of final bosses, perfect chaos. Because like, you know, the day seems to be saved. They beat Eggman, Egg Carriers in the drink. I think they've beaten Chaos because like 3 or so characters fought Chaos 6. So if he didn't die from that, I don't know what would kill him. He's really obviously slinked off somewhere else. And then he gets all the, you know, Chaos Emeralds. And becomes Perfect Chaos, attack Station Square, the whole iconic water scene and whatnot. And like everyone comes together. Like even like Eggman tries to use the whole egg carrier laser thing on Perfect Chaos, does nothing. Chaos uses his laser, one-shots him, just takes him out of the sky. Then everyone's like, oh crap, what do we do now? There's all the Chaos Emeralds, but they're gray and dark because they're like, oh crap, what do we do now that their power is drained? But nope, Chaos only uses the negative energies of the Chaos Emeralds. Well, Sonic, you know, his power of energy glowed again, he transformed. Before we get to mention Tikal, let's switch that to Tikal, a Echidna spirit lady who was sealed with Chaos in the Master Emerald. Who wanted to reseal him, but Sonic, like they won't change anything, we have to like release him of it and whatnot. Because he's like your Omo Chow, I guess, like your hint, they're like we're glowing shining ball thing. I guess because you spent most of the entirety of the game as the original ball, that's all I really viewed her as, so it didn't really stick. I get it, you're important to the plot, but since you just spent like 94% of the game as just this, that when I finally did see you, I'm like, I get the tie-ins, but it didn't really add or detract from my overall experience. So I often throw her to the wayside, not that she's not cool or important, just that But he turns into Super Sonic, and then Open Your Heart. Again, the OST, that is like pumping, just it's so good. And that boss fight, you're like rushing through like the flooded city, running up Chaos. It's up inside its body, hitting its like the organic brain thing in there. And that music's pumping. The world went like you're its last chance. You went Super Saiyan, you're got the same power, and you're gunning it. It was just like everything just hit right. Then the second phase, the whole dramatic music and whatnot, and you're just like, oh crap, did the thing serious now? Who wants me dead? But I ain't going down. You can like feel the tension, and then you just like again, like guns it, and then you just keep hitting him. It's the same. It's very repetitive gameplay at that point, but just everything surrounding it just hits different. It hits right. It just feels good. Then when you win, the day is set. Everything's still flooded, which I don't know why that doesn't change. Because Chaos is really with anger. I guess the call passes on to the spirit world or whatnot. So that felt pretty well and good. And yeah, it's over because I have questions. The Chaos Emeralds can warp reality. Why not just snap your fingers and fix it? But whatever. It was just. And I could see why Chaos would be mad. Because, you know, you can't misuse the power of the Chaos Emeralds. They trampled upon like the sacred area, hurt the Chow, because it's also God of Water, guardian of the Chow. It made the Knuckles' old tribe, which is why they were devastated to begin with. Pissed it off. So when Perfect Chaos and this decimated them. Like to only, I guess Knuckles is the last one left. And it's like, oh wow, bro. That's rough. Well, I guess that's, I mean, your tribe is strong, but your arms are a little too short to box with God, literally. So, yeah. Again, I don't really think I have to give like the usual like ending thoughts on what I think of it. Characters are good, music was good, I loved it, it was great. I know this one was a bit more tangential than others, because others I try to keep to a loose like structure. If anyone's ever noticed that. But I just can't stop just like gushing about how awesome this game is. Anyway, I think I've prattled on long enough. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.